भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। So we were studying the Advaita introductory commentary to his commentary on the Brahma Sutras. So till now we saw how he this introductory commentary to his commentary on the Brahma Sutras. So till now we saw how that we superimpose that which is not Atman on Atman, and we superimpose Atman on that which is not Atman. So it is a mutual superimposition. So there were some objections to the concept of superimposition, and those also were removed or disposed of. And Shankaracharya talked of how even the scriptures are all based on superimposition. Now there is only, he is ending this Adhyasa Bhashya. He is concluding this Adhyasa Bhashya, and it is called Adhyasa Vichara Nigamana Bhashyam. That means that is the conclusive statement. What is the summary conclusion of his Adhyasa Bhashya? Before going to the Brahma Sutra proper, he says, Evam ayam anadihi ananto naisargikah adhyasah mithya pratyaya rupah kartritva bhoktritva pravartakah sarvaloka pratyakshah asya anartha hetoho prahanaya atmaikatva vidya pratipaddaye sarve vedanta arabhyante. So this is quite simple Sanskrit. Evam ayam. Evam means in this manner. Ayam this. Anadihi. Anadihi without beginning. Without any end. Endless. Natural. Superimposition. Mithya pratyaya rupa. It is of the rupa nature of mithya, illusory, false, pratyaya, cognition. So, superstition, it is nothing but illusory cognition. Its nature is mithya pratyaya, means it is illusory cognition. Kartritva bhoktritva pravartaka. And what does happen because of this illusory cognition? We have a impetus, we have a propelling force, we have a motivation to bring about the sense of karma, doership, and bhoktritva, enjoyership. So tva is ship here. So kartrit, I am the doer. The sense of I am the doer. Enjoyership, I am the enjoyer. Sarva loka pratyaksha, and this is something which is pratyaksha, experienced by sarva loka, by everybody, by one and all. It is experienced by everyone. Asya anartha hetoho. And asya, this is of this. Hetu means cause of, source of. Anartha. What is anartha? What is anartha? Suffering, misery, evil. So this is cause of evil. What is the cause of evil? Kartritva, bhoktritva. Kartritva and bhoktritva are the causes of evil. So prahanaya, and this we want to eradicate. We want to remove it. We want to destroy it. For that we need Atma Ekatva Pratipatti. For that we need the Vidya, the knowledge or the realization of Atma Ekatva, of the oneness of self. That means self is not different. It means there is only one. Self is not different from Atma Brahma. Jiva, the self is different from Brahman. Self is there. For the sake of getting, that knowledge, Sarve Vedantaha Arabhyante. Arabhyante are started. Sarve Vedantaha, all Vedanta. That means all Upanishads. Because Upanishads are supposed to come at the end of the Vedas. So all Upanishads start are supposed to start because of, supposed to have been started because of the necessity of kartrutva and bhoktritva, the sense of doership and enjoy, which are sources of evil. So the oneness of Atman, Atma, and why the Vedanta or Upanishads are begun. You see, without hunger, no, if there is no hunger, so there is Mahabharata, that when the Pandavas are living in the forest, known his anger, he, where Draupadi was there with Pandavas. So he said to keep your feast. And so Draupadi was given what called, you can cook, means once it's cooking, it will keep on, it will keep on giving food. But once it is over, then you cannot have any food. So it was over. So though she had that was over, time was out. So she started calling Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna came. So if you call Sri Krishna, he will come. Or at least he will send the textile. That is what we understand from Mahabharata. Because once when he could not come, he sent textile. So sari was constantly coming. No? So whatever is necessary, he will provide. So Sri Krishna came and he said, oh, you don't have food. So he came, he understood. He said, give me food. He understood the problem. So he said, give me food. And when Draupadi said there is no food, then he took out that pot. And he saw that he said, one grain. And he belched actually. He said, oh wow, my stomach has been filled. And so all these people who were having a raving hunger, when they were having severe hunger, means they were about to eat everything. This 100 disciples and Durvasa. But while taking bath, when Sri Krishna took this one grain, all of them, their hunger was, not only that their hunger was appeased, their stomachs became so full that they could understand that it became difficult for them to take bath even. So they were like, what happened now? Our stomachs have become so full. So they said, now if we go and if we don't eat, it will be a great insult and that will not be good for us. So better not to go to Draupadi. We will, from here itself, we will leave. So even if you expect a feast, if you are not hungry, a feast is of no use. So even if it is something which is a text which starts with the promise, Athato Brahma Jigyasa, that now we are going to inquire Brahman. And what is Brahman? That is your true reality. Once you know the true reality, all suffering will stop. But unless there is a hunger for that, nobody is going to do it. So Shankaracharya in his masterpiece, Adhyasa Bhashya, is first creating the hunger for understanding the nature of one's own self. Why the hunger should be created? How does he create? All suffering in this world will stop. You will have no more suffering if you understand this. Why is this suffering? Because of sense of doership and enjoyership. And so we have to go beyond these two. If we go beyond these two, we will have no suffering. That is the idea. But even though he is explaining it everything, even though that has been told over and again by various sages in various languages, in various texts and through various parables and tales, etc. And even though we are hearing this for I don't know how many lifetimes, still when it comes to thinking of this world as Adhyasa, it is very difficult. Very difficult. Particularly when it is something connected to you. Means where you have some connection, you have established some connection. So children, if it is your children, then can you think that it is Adhyasa? Is it possible? It is like saying that, you see, I am suffering. I am suffering, so I am now okay. I am become so broad that I am taking the suffering of all the world. So that means you only increase your suffering. So even if some other child gets some suffering, you will be, you will get disturbed because arey, that child is suffering.
Right.
So from
Right. Right.
one perspective, it may look like that is you have become broader and it is good, etc. But from another perspective, which is still higher perspective, it means that you have got more causes for suffering. You see, the goal is not that. The goal is to have equanimity without any suffering. The goal is to face death without any suffering. Face death means my death, most of all my death, first of all, and then also the death of other people. Facing it with the same this thing. That is the highest goal. That is the highest ideal. So suffering for other people is also a very high ideal, but it is not the highest. It cannot be the highest because then you are seeing suffering. So you see that is why when you get embodied like Buddha, he was so much Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna. They were all so compassionate. They could not bear the suffering of other people. But that is also in the realm of name and form. So who was Swami Vivekananda? Swami Vivekananda was one among the Sapta Rishis. And Sri Ramakrishna, he was quietly meditating. Sri Ramakrishna went and brought him here. He said, now there is work, come. So afterwards, both of them have gone away and they are also nicely meditating. And they came and they gave a message to the world. And now some of us are trying to understand this message. It's very difficult to understand this message, but it's simple message. But it is deceptively simple. It's very simple only if you just read it. But if you try to practice it, you understand that it is very high and ideal. But we have to practice. So the idea is when somebody is embodied, when you see that name and form and show compassion, etc., or you are compassionate, that is very rare quality. But even then, that is not the highest ideal. So adhyasa, everything is adhyasa. There is nothing in this world where there is no adhyasa. The moment you see the other, the moment you see duality, there is adhyasa. And that has been told by Shankaracharya in a very plain language, without mincing words, without beating around the bush. He has directly hit the nail on its head. Means he has clearly said that you see everything is adhyasa, scriptures are adhyasa, all things are adhyasa. So we have to now go beyond adhyasa. And so unless you have this attitude, unless we have this attitude, there is no point in studying the Brahma Sutras. Only when you think that I have suffering, then you have to study the Brahma Sutras. Reading the scripture will not help you to go beyond superimposition. It will give you pointers. So you are sitting in a car and you are from say Kolkata, you want to go to Delhi. So you see a signboard which says Delhi so many kilometers. Seeing the signboard, reading the signboard will not take you to Delhi. You will have to drive the car along that route so many kilometers to take it to Delhi. Sri Ramakrishna's beautiful parable is there. See, what is the use of scriptures? Scriptures are like a friend is sending somebody is sending a letter to a person that I need these things. So that person is reading that letter. Once you read that letter, you know, oh, these things are necessary. They have to be bought and sent to that person. So by reading the list of things, nothing is going to happen unless you go to the bazaar and buy those things and send it. So scriptures themselves say, at least Hindu scriptures say, that they are useless. But they are not simply useless. They have a use, but that use can be understood only when we do something, when we act upon them. Okay, so that is the use. So they are pointers to spiritual practice. Hmm? So this is the thing. So now, are we ready to give up Adhyasa? That is the $1,000,000 question.
We must try, Maharaj.
So that's what I'm saying. If you are ready to give up Adhyasa, only then we should read Brahma Sutras. Are you ready to give your doership and enjoyership? That means there will be no ship. That means there will be no you. Separate
Yes.
you will not be there. Yes. Hita means help. So whatever falls in my plate and all that, these are all various ways of telling the same thing. So unless I have the realization, I cannot say this. Once you have the realization, Sri Ramakrishna says that Shankaracharya kept his body for the welfare of the world, etc. That we know. So that is at a different plane. But you see, to say that I am bound and I am getting beating, then I am saying that no, it is not beating. You see, this is a different kind of exercise which has come now. So you get such beating, it is a nice exercise like that. So like that you can say, but that is just like that. It is, you know very well that you cannot get rid of it. So now you are saying, oh, this is for the welfare of the world, Maharaj. It is not like that. You see, if everyone gives up doership and enjoyership, uh, but what you say is all the more contradictory, because you are saying that no, I believe in giving up doership and enjoyership, but then I want to do good to the world, or what falls on my plate, right? If you are giving up doership and enjoyership, where is your plate? Then there can be nothing which is mine. Then you are saying it falls on my plate, right? You just gave up enjoyership, so there cannot be any mamakara. So my plate concept cannot be there. And if you say that I want to do good to the world, you have given up in doership. How will you do anything if you have given up doership? So it is contradictory. Okay, so it is contradictory. So it cannot be like that. We have to give up. Give up means completely give up. Yeah. So Swamiji says in Jnana Yoga lectures, we all know that we are afraid of giving up our individuality. We don't want to give. So because we don't want or we want, either way, we suffer. So Shankaracharya has made it very clear. You see, I am going to remove your existence. I am going to make you nobodies. If you want to become a nobody, come. If you are not interested in becoming a nobody, then you will suffer. No, this is a wrong concept. When you break your idea of self, that idea of self is broken, then how will you see everybody as yours? When your own idea is gone, then there will be no yours. Logic, think logic, use logic. When there will be no idea of yourself, then how will you see everyone as your own? There will be no your. You will not be there.
I only missing.
So how can you see? So that is the problem. We are so much entrenched in this body-mind complex that we are unable to understand that this will remove the I. Sri Ramakrishna's parable of a salt doll going to measure the ocean. That salt doll itself will not be there. It will become the ocean. So you will not be there. And the other will also be not there. You will see that everybody is mine. There will be no everybody, there will not be anything mine. So basically that is something which we cannot even imagine. We cannot even have a conception of. That's the problem. Now you're saying, oh, then myself will go away, so everybody will become mine. I will consider everybody as mine. Yourself will go away, then how mine will be there? Or if you will go away, then now everybody will be yours. So please take some digestive pills and digest this concept. And we need to think about it logically. And then we will start. So then means what? We will start. Adhyasa Bhashya is over. We will start Brahma Sutra Bhashya. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.